since hello. It has been a very long time since I have done a vlog or a story time or whatever, but even posted on here. I have had some of the worst couple months that I've had in a very, very, very long time. I have tried doing TikToks and stuff to like explain the situation, but then I remembered that YouTube exists. It's so hard to fit so much information into such a short video. So basically, I'm gonna start from before the incident just to kind of show where I was at in my life. But I'm basically gonna start with February and head into October, where we are now. I have notes so you can see my blue light reflection of my glasses. As someone who has been chronically ill basically their whole life, it's so clear how much the healthcare system has failed us. If you have acute illnesses or just something bad happens and then they treat it and then you move on, like that's what acute basically means, right? Like you have a heart attack or like, you know, something like that. Like you're still gonna have symptoms because you had such a serious thing happen, but it's not like you're not having a heart attack every day kind of thing. You know what I mean? That stuff, like the healthcare system's great for that stuff, mostly. People that are chronically ill, it's like no one knows what to do about that. Oh boy, my voice is getting raspy and I haven't even started yet. It's usually the first sign I'm gonna crash. Let's start from the beginning. So this is what I was pre-crash. I had a photo shoot and a concert in February. March, I was kind of at my best. I was doing 5,000 to 7,000 steps a day. I started a EDS pain restoration program at Spalding. I think like the week before the crash, my strength had gotten so much better. There was so much improvement. I was like one appointment away from graduating from occupational therapy. I went to like 2 small concerts in March. I was hanging out with friends more. My friend who owns a cake business was starting to get really stressed with wedding season. So I started going there and helping out, and like I loved learning about baking and cakes and it was so fun. And then I started like helping them out with like their Instagram, and it was like I had such a great time like being creative and editing the TikToks, and like it was all so much fun, you know? Like physically and mentally I was definitely at a peak. And like me and this friend weren't that close, but now we were seeing each other all the time and we were getting really close, and we were like playing Pokemon and having so much fun. And then playing Pokemon made me start going for walks with Mama all the time. I would take her for a walk every night, and there's a school, and I had never even like walked there before, and I'd been here for like 3 years. So I even walked like super far one night. Like I had to stop and sit down for a while, but like I saw the high school where I went, and I'd like never seen it redone before, and that was just like it's just amazing to me how well I was doing, you know? Like I was finally just like so much more independent, physically doing more, just getting stronger, emotionally doing well. If anything, like the worst thing that I was going through at the time is that my mast cell was getting worse. I was having a lot more skin rashing and like congestion, sore throat and all that stuff. I saw like an ENT, but that's like compared to now, that, I mean, it's nothing. Like I'm still dealing with that. And then April 1st, I was in Rhode Island Fashion Week's fashion show, which was just absolutely amazing. And then I went to a Alice in Wonderland tea party thing with my friend. I had Easter. I went to another concert. I don't know, I really was doing really good. And like June came. June was so great. I had like family party, and the day after, my friend gave me rainbow lashes. I was in another fashion show. And then I went to Boston's Pride for the first time with my friend, and we had so much fun. And then on the 18th, I did my first bar crawl, which is insane. I think I had like 8,000 steps that day. I got a bunch of new bathing suits and summer clothes. Like, I was so excited. I made like a TikTok. If you've seen the TikTok by now, you know, obviously it didn't turn out to be a happy thing, but I literally had the TikTok that I made with all the new bathing suits and stuff, and I was so excited, and I was so ready for summer. And on the 20th, I went to my mama's house and woke up early, which I don't do. And then we spent like all afternoon. She was teaching me how to use a sewing machine again. I was making a t-shirt quilt, which I literally wanted to do. 15 years, 10 years, I've wanted to do this. And she let me take the sewing machine home because we didn't get to finish. And she was like, take it home. I'm getting really raspy now. Like, I was so excited. I spent like that night, I went to help my friend bake. But like, from the time I saw my mama to going to my friends, I spent that whole time just like thinking of things that I could sew, and I was like so excited, like planning things. I made like a whole Pinterest board of things that I could do. And then I went to my friends who were baking. I decided to start helping organize and clean all the stuff. So I was like sitting on the floor going through everything. I was like so happy with how everything looked, and like everything was so organized now, and I was like, yes. And then I went back into the kitchen. I was like, man, I'm exhausted. My friend was like, I'm so exhausted too. And then they were like, you know, if you need to leave, that's totally fine. But like, we were almost done, so I was just like, whatever. But then it was like all of a sudden, I still stayed like in that spot. I think it took like minutes from that conversation to so I sat on the ground because I was like, wow, I feel awful. And then like, I have had many crashes before, but I have never had something like this. I actually had a crash at the pain restoration program, and my mom had to like come get me and everything because it was bad. But like, she helps me walk in. I went to bed. The next day I was like tired, like almost like that hungover feeling where you're like tired, but you can like still function. This was totally different. But like, in my mind, I was trying to think of like what would I normally do. So I like sat down, and then all of a sudden it was just like my body, it just feels like everything falls asleep except for my mind, which is in itself terrifying. But don't tell the doctors that. Does it give you anxiety? Does it give me anxiety to not be able to move, communicate, and still be fully aware? Yes, it does. Don't tell them that though, because then they'll just blame anxiety. So yeah, I was fully aware of my friend sitting next to me on the floor, trying to get me to communicate. I couldn't talk. My neck was so painful because it was just like this. And it was like the back of my neck hurt so bad, and I couldn't move it. And my friend just kept like, was so worried about me, and I couldn't talk. I was just crying, and I just had like, my nose was just dripping all over the place. And like, I feel like that isn't really an important detail, but I always like to mention it because, I don't know, someone with social anxiety, like that in itself is so stressful. Like, if I was faking it, you know what I mean? Like, I would not let snot just drip all over me, which just made me cry more, which made snot more. But my friend was able to call my mom. My mom had to come, and they were able to get me into a wheelchair. And then I was finally able to communicate, but like I couldn't walk or move or really do anything by myself. And then I woke up the next day. My mom came because I said I was still doing really bad. Oh, this is getting to be a lot. I've been talking for 20 minutes. That's a long time. Focus. She brought me food because I was still not able to get up or like cook or really do anything. So she brought me food and my medicine and stuff. And I think that we decided to put my neck brace on. I had gotten a prescription to wear my neck brace for an hour a day because my neck strength was really bad. And like in PT and OT, they were giving me exercises for my neck and stuff. And so I put the neck brace on because it was so hard to hold my head up. And then I was sending videos to my cousin, like trying to eat and like taking off my neck brace and showing her my symptoms and stuff. And she was like, I would go to the ER because that could be like adrenal crisis or, you know, like I've never had a crash last that long. Here we are in freaking October. But so my mom ended up coming that night and taking me. We decided to go to Newton Wellesley because the traffic was really bad to get to Mass General. ERs are ridiculous, and we were in the waiting room for hours and hours and hours, and then they send you to the next little area and then you're there for hours and hours and hours. But by the time we finally got back, my nurse actually had all the same illnesses that I do. It was like, oh my gosh, like, you know your stuff, because there's a lot of people at the ER that don't know any of this stuff. And then the doctor that was on was actually, we ended up looking him up, and he was like, it's like the director of the ER or something, like very high up on the ER. And he knew mitochondrial disease. He has like a nephew with it or something, and he was taking us very seriously, and like had an amazing doctor, an amazing nurse. And my friend, who was very medical savvy, was like, these are the things that I would really like to have checked. And he was like, no problem. And then he came back before his shift ended saying that he really wanted to send me to Mass General, like transport me there in the morning because they didn't have any beds. So that was the plan. We were like, okay, Mass General in the morning. He's like, that's where all your specialists are. You know, you're a very complex patient, so let's send you there. We were like, cool. Then my mom, my friend left, and I fell asleep. So it was like 3 in the morning or whatever. The last picture that's in my phone was at like 9 in the morning. So from 3 to 9, everything crumbled. It's like, it was so bad. I don't know what happened. We were surrounded by competent, amazing people. And then these 3 doctors came in. They always had to be with each other. I think one was a resident, one was like the head doctor. I don't know what the other one was, but it was just like so bizarre. And then they're like, can we listen to your heart? And I was like, okay. And then all 3 of them came up with their stethoscopes and started listening and like doing this. And like, it was just so awkward. I don't know. So that encounter was weird. And then neurology came in and like started saying maybe myasthenia gravis. The ER doctor from the night before was saying maybe that too. But they were like, probably not. Especially because I'm on the medication for that already. Like I definitely do worse without it, but so he was saying he doesn't think it's a new neurological issue. He thinks it's one of my other problems. At this point, I was by myself and it was really hard to communicate. So, you know, he just left. And then 3 amigos or whatever they were came back in. Actually, I don't even remember what happened. Something happened where they were going to admit me. This was so, like, it just seems so long ago now. People kept saying to me, like, has PT come? And I said no. So they were like, all right, we're gonna admit you. And then they were literally like, I was in the hallway, the people were already transporting me. The nurse goes, wait a second, they're discharging her? I'm so confused. So then we had to go back into the room, and the like doctors came back down and they were like, yeah, we're discharging you. And I'm like, why? And my mom was like, she's not safe to be alone. At this point, I actually didn't even go to the bathroom because I wasn't drinking any water since I was unable to go to the bathroom myself. So I was like nervous. And then they were like, neurology cleared you, so there's no reason for us to keep you here. And we were like, she can't walk or talk or function. And this one doctor that I wish I knew their name, we never ended up seeing him again after that night, but he was just so incredibly rude to us the whole time. He was saying like, sometimes you just have to sleep, and like just so ableist and just horrible. And it's like, sometimes you just get tired and you have to like sleep for a day. And I was just like, bro, are you kidding me? And then they handed us the discharge papers, and my friend who was normally with us was like, do not sign those. So we started calling my doctor, and then she started like calling everyone there and was like, absolutely do not discharge her, this is ridiculous. And like I could hear the phone ring and then them answer, and then they had physical therapy come, and she had to help me onto the commode. I went to the bathroom and she had to like wipe for me and all that stuff, which is like humiliating. I also had like 4 people in the room with me. I don't know why. That horrible doctor comes back while she's like helping me get into bed. We like took a few steps around the room, and then she had to help me sit into the bed. And she was like, yeah, she's not safe to go home. Like, he was like, fine. Like, dude, it's just like, no, he actually acted nice around her and was like, okay, if you say so. Like, so we get discharged, and we're like, you know, hopefully we never see the 3 musketeers again. But they were there the rest of the time that I was there. I did not see another doctor again. That's when we looked up the ER guy, and I guess he only works weekends or something, or like he wasn't going to be back working for a long time. So we were like, oh. And my doctor was like, it doesn't even matter because you're not technically in the ER anymore, because I was admitted. And we were just like so confused. We were like, the plan was to go to Mass General, and they were like, there's no beds. We were asking about like the transfer, and they're like, there's no transfer order, we can't transfer you unless we know what's wrong. And I'm just like, they just kept saying like, if you were in the ER you could do it there, but like, I don't know, it's harder to get transferred once you're admitted without a diagnosis, I guess. But you know, the whole plan was to do it that morning, but I spent the whole time trying to prove myself for like that full day. My friend came Thursday and Friday, I think. On Thursday, they came and was like, I really need to talk to the doctor. So we finally talked to them, and my friend was like, I really don't understand why you guys didn't go through stroke protocol, and that we have literally been begging for an MRI for days and no one's done it. And then the doctor was like, well, you were cleared by neurology. And I was like, neurology told me that it was something that I already am diagnosed with, and that's why they told me I should go to Mass General. I don't understand why that means, okay, go home, be safe. Also, my TSH was really high. It went from like 1 to 27 in like a month, which doesn't cause all these problems, but should have been. And we said that to the doctors, and they were like, yeah, but your T3 levels were fine, so we're not worried about it. Like, no med change, no nothing. And I was like, no, I would like my adrenal glands checked. I have family history of that. And they were just like, no, you can do that outpatient. I was just like, my friend was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, if it was anyone else, you would have done an MRI immediately. And they were like, fine, we'll do an MRI, but it's not gonna show anything. So then I finally get sent to MRI. Like, it's just like every step of the way has been just so awful, you know? My friend comes with us down, but like isn't allowed into the MRI area. So they were like, you know, can you get up and walk to the thing or whatever? Because I came down in a stretcher, and it's just like, no, I can't. And they were like, can you move onto the table? I'm like, no, I can't. I had my neck brace on, and I was like, I can take it off. And they were like, no, you came down here with it, so you're gonna have to keep it on. And then they like, I couldn't fit with that thing on my head with the neck brace. So they put like, I don't know, they were trying to like make it work. But then, I don't know, they put stuff on me. And then as soon as I went into the machine, it like fell onto my face. So then I squeezed that button thing. So then I came, and they were like, hold on. And then they came in, and the whole thing was like on my face. So like, this obviously isn't gonna work. So then like took all the things off, started like shoving these things onto me, and it was so painful, and like squished my head in so hard. And I was like, if it's either this or taking my neck brace off, like I would much rather have to take my neck brace off. And they were like, well, you do it. I'm not being held responsible for that. I'm like, oh my God. So then I took it off, and then it was fine. I went in there and it was fine. So then I put it back on, and then they like wheeled me off to like the side room, which was also so weird because we went through this whole thing of like making sure my port was MRI and contrast safe. And they were like asking me all about contrast stuff. And they take, the MRI took 2 seconds, and then I get out and I'm like, am I not having contrast? And they're like, no, who told you were having contrast? I'm like, everyone did. They looked at the chart and they were like, no, it's not contrast. They're like, I read the order right, like thinking I was blaming them. I'm like, I'm not saying that, I would just rather not come back all the way down again. And then they pushed me off to like the side hallway or whatever, waiting for the person that comes to wheel you back up. And so one of the techs goes, I'm so sick of these fucking lazy fat asses who just refuse to move or cooperate. And then the other person's like, oh my God, they're right there. And they both just like get quiet. And I'm just like crying in the corner, like, love that. And the person comes, and then the person that said all that stuff was like, I hope you're able to walk again, or whatever, as we were leaving. And I'm like crying, like never says sorry or anything. I'm like crying. My friend's like, is everything all right? Like just thought I had like a panic attack or whatever in the MRI machine. And then I tell them what happened, and my friend just like immediately goes back in and has like a conversation with this person. They were just so rude to my friend, and like refused to apologize, and saying that they've had a long week or whatever. It's just like sick. So we get back up to the room. The MRI was normal. We requested an MRI with contrast because you can't tell if you're having a metabolic stroke without the contrast. But it took like fucking three days or whatever just to get an MRI done. One doctor comes in with a social worker and basically says that insurance isn't going to pay for me to stay there anymore. And then I basically had to get out yesterday, even though they never told us that. I don't know, they were basically like, you should go to Mass General, but like to be with your providers, but we can't transfer you because we don't know what's wrong with you. So we were like, so you want us to go through a full day of waiting in the ER again? Sweet. It was so aggravating that we didn't get a single new doctor the whole time. We had to deal with the fucking horrible Three Musketeers. So every time they walked into the room, we were like, great. You know? Oh, I forgot to tell you. The day of the MRI was my worst day yet. They had I was having PT still, and the first PT person was like, let's say you're forced to go home. What are you gonna do? I was just like, go to my outpatient, like the pain restoration program, I guess, because like they understand. And then the doctor was like, well, how are you gonna get there? And I was like, I don't know, get a ride share or something. I don't know. Like at the time, like now that I'm actually doing all this stupid ride share stuff, like I would have never been able to do that because I can't push myself in a wheelchair. Like, I don't know. But of course, what I said went on paperwork, and now they used that against me to discharge me. She still said I was unsafe to be alone and whatever. So that was the first PT. And then the second PT came. It was a new person. And she over pushed me, like, more than all the other ones did. Like, before I was taking just, like, a few steps around the room with a walker and, like, them holding me. And, like, that would wipe me out. This lady really pushed me to walk all the way into the hallway. They had a chair there just in case, which I obviously fucking used. And then come all the way back. Which is way more than I've done before. So I did that. I walked all the way into the hallway and felt awful. So then I immediately sat down. But then they were like, go slow. And then I felt like my wrist dislocated or something. It like putting all my weight onto my wrist, and like, 'cause when you don't have people that understand your illnesses, it's not gonna go well. But anyway, so my wrists were killing me. I wouldn't say dislocated, probably just subluxated. But then I just felt awful and I wasn't gonna get better. And she was like, all right, ready to go back? And I was like, I need to get into bed. Like, so yes. So then I start walking back. My friend was there. And I just like start crying. Because I'm like, I feel so fucking awful. I almost made it to the bed. Almost. Didn't make it. But I started to collapse. The PT brought me to the bed. The nurses had to come in. My friend had to get up and help. It took like 3 people to get me onto the bed. I wasn't able to talk. I wasn't able to move. Back to day 1. Unresponsive, fucking stupid snot all over me again. Like, my mom and stepdad came in as soon as this was all happening. And, like, they, like, paged the doctor that it was, like, an emergency. And I was just doing so bad. But, like, he didn't come until I started feeling better. So, like, he started doing all my vitals, but I was able to, like, talk and stuff by then. My mom and stepdad, who have, like, literally seen me through my worst, like, were just so worried. My friend was like crying. Like, I had never been that bad, well, then other than the first time, but like to see it in a hospital setting with like nurses struggling to help. And then before that I was able to have help but make it to the bathroom. But then after that I was at the point where I could only use the bedpan because I couldn't move. And that was the day that I had to fucking have the MRI and got, like, that day was just really bad. The next day they basically told us they were kicking us out because insurance wasn't going to cover it anymore. That's when we learned about observation. We didn't really realize that was the thing. So it's not really admitting you. You go from the ER to observation. And then after a certain amount of days, if they still don't know what's wrong, then you basically get kicked out or you get admitted. So we were getting kicked out. Hello. I'm just popping on here while I'm editing in November to say that I never mentioned when we were discharged, we were waiting for that physical therapist note since she was there and saw the bad crash and everything. But her note to this day still isn't there. I don't know if that's some conspiracy of them, like, that you're going to find out with the functional neurology stuff. I don't know if that has anything to do with them just, like, not wanting to include it. I feel like it's more likely that maybe during all the chaos, she never got to write it down, or, like, forgot, or whatever. But it's just really upsetting since, like, that might have helped us having that note. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know what to believe anymore. So our plan, since I obviously couldn't just go home, my friend had to sleep over and help me. And then us three went to Leahy the next day because Mass General was so ridiculously full. They had everybody in the hallways. It was like a 10-hour wait or something. I don't even remember. But Mass General, I think it was called deferring. They started deferring patients, like when a hospital gets so packed that they send people to other hospitals because they literally just can't fit you in anymore. So when I sit in bed all day, I, like, don't move, this is how I am. I'm able to talk. I'm able to, whatever. I'm not really using that much energy. But even, like talking right now, like, uses so much energy. Like, if I'm just, like, sitting here by myself playing a game or whatever, I'm like doing good. Not great, but like good. But it's always like I'm doing worse when people are here. And that goes into my mind of, like, gaslighting myself and being like, oh, you're just doing it for attention or whatever. But reality of it is like, no, you're now focusing on people here and you're talking to them and you're, like, using way more energy to do all that. The day we went to Leahy, I was feeling so bad because we came here and I had to transfer to a wheelchair and then transfer to the car and transfer back into the wheelchair. Like, I was not communicating again. I was, like, a little bit, but not. Like, I wasn't crashed to the point of, like, snot everywhere, but, like, I couldn't really talk. My friend had to talk for me. And Leahy, like, literally the ER took one look at me and admitted me, just, like, immediately. But again, observation, not admitting. I don't know. I don't really get it. The weird thing is that they sent me to observation and we get to the room and they're like, can you step on the scale for me? I'm like, I was in a wheelchair. I'm like, no, I can't walk. They were like, they didn't tell us that you couldn't walk. Like, the bathroom's, like, way down there or whatever. And I'm just, like, sick. Like, I can't do that either. So they get all fucking aggravated, but obviously not at me because it's not my fault. They have to put a commode in my room because I can't make it to the bathroom. And I could barely even make it to the commode every time. A commode is like just a portable toilet, basically. It's not even really a toilet. It's like a bucket with a seat. But, like, every time I had to go to the bathroom, I had to hit the button. They would come in. I would say, I have to go to the bathroom. And then 1 to 2 nurses would help me onto the commode, help me wipe, and then put me back in the bed. And we ended up going to Leahy because my rheumatologist and my thyroid doctor were there. My TSH was really the only proof that we had that something was going on. They immediately did a med change. They're like, Newton Wellesley didn't do that? Like, no, you'd think they would, but no, they said it was fine. They said that my TSH level that was 27 times higher than normal was totally fine. Thankfully, that's back down now that we're in April, October. Then they did adrenal testing. It was just like, we were already taken seriously, you know? They were talking to my primary, and then there was one test that they had to send out for, so they were like, it's gonna take a while. And I think TSH, they told me TSH takes like 6 weeks for it to go down. So they were like, you're obviously not gonna be here for that. Then the last day at Leahy, it was going okay. I even overheard the doctor talking. He was like, we tested her for myasthenia gravis, but it's not gonna come back, but even if she's negative, we're still going to start her IVIG treatment since she was already on that, but is currently on a break from it. And I was like, okay. They didn't tell me that. I had to overhear him talking to the nurse. But then that was like overnight, so he never came in. But then the next day, it's always so aggravating because they come in at like 6 in the morning, and I'm like, I need to be prepared to talk to you. Like, I need to have questions ready and whatever. But no, it's just like they wake me up out of sleep, and I'm like disoriented, and I feel like I'm alone, so I don't have the right things to say. Basically, he was like, we're gonna have endocrinology and neurology come and check you. So that I didn't see my doctor, but it was someone that was working with my doctor who ordered the adrenal testing and all that stuff. But then fucking neurology came. I don't know why neurologists always have to be the worst people ever. Well, so the resident was amazing. We loved her, and she like was fully listening to us. And like under the same thing happened at Newton Wellesley. You like see the resident, and then they're the ones that do the exam on you, and they were like so nice and like so informative, and like they both thought I had myasthenia gravis. And then they like talk to the doctor, and the doctor comes in. They don't even examine you or anything. Just trash. You know what I mean? Like everything that resident was thinking is just thrown out the window because they're just so much better and smarter and amazing, even though they don't even look at you. Just a horrible person, to be honest. She was like, well, I think you have functional neurology disorder. And me and my mom were like, I don't know what that is. And she was like, well, that's what they diagnosed you with at Newton Wellesley too, and you've never heard of it. We're like, no. He didn't say that to us. So then we were like, okay, well, what is the treatment for that? And they were like, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and mental therapy. I was like, I'm literally already doing all that every week. I was like, how am I supposed to get to physical therapy? And she was like, you drive, don't you? I was like, I need 1 to 2 nurses to make it to the commode that is right next to my bed. And you want me driving? My friend was like, you should get that in writing. And then, of course, she leaves, and we look it up, and it's fucking conversion disorder. If they just said that, I would know what they were fucking talking about. And then in her notes, she was so rude. It said that I've been going to the functional neurology clinic and all this stuff. And it was just so fucking aggravating because my stupid GI doctor made me go to this hypnotherapist, and I just said, fuck it, whatever, I'll try anything at this point. So I did, but I have aphantasia, so I can't fucking visualize things. So it was useless, obviously, but I tried it anyway. And then I was having deja vu multiple times a day, every day, and I had a bunch of EEGs done and all that, and then they sent me to a functional neurology clinic. I didn't even know what that was then either, and she ordered more MRIs, and then the last thing was she wanted me to see a speech therapist. Like, I didn't know what functional neurology was. But no, they don't want to say it's conversion disorder, because then everybody knows what that is. They could have just said hysteria, but you know. So then I was like, let's just leave. Like, if that's what they're gonna think, then I think at this point we were like, you're gonna have to go to a rehab because you're not safe to be by yourself. But then they couldn't send me to a rehab because you need a diagnosis to do that. And all the places we were looking at makes you like exercise like 3 times a day, and I like just walking made me become unresponsive. So I don't know, we ended up deciding that if they think that it's all in my head, that they weren't going to take me seriously anymore. Just like Newton Wellesley, who refused to get me the MRI until we didn't fucking shut up about it. So yeah, that's when we came home. oh, then it only just gets worse. You know what I mean? Like, you think it's over, but it's not. So July 1st, I was discharged because everybody was useless now. This was a Friday. I was there since Monday, and we knew that nothing gets done over the weekend anyway. We just discharged. On July 7th, I saw my normal occupational therapy who does like my ring splints and stuff, and she came out, looked around, and then went behind the desk and was like, "You said Taylor was here?" And my mom had to push me up to the desk and like tap on her shoulder, be like, "Hi." Like, she had met my mom before too, and she was like, "I didn't even recognize you," like in a wheelchair, in a neck brace, unable to even look at her because of my neck being like this. But she ended up making me, so she fixed the one that broke, but now they're both broken again. She made a pool noodle thing to hold my head up so I'm not like this all the time. And then on the 27th, I was able to get squeezed in to the wheelchair clinic at Spalding. July 28th, the next day, I saw a new neurologist, and he was good. He's the only one so like from July 1st to July 28th, and even to this day, we called all of my doctors. None of them will call me back. The one who specializes in like mito and chronic fatigue type stuff gave me an appointment for like April next year. Yeah, no one's calling us back, so we love that. But basically they got a wheelchair ready for me, said that this is exactly what I need to order. We had the neurologist the next day put in the order. It's October, I still don't have it. It's not even sent to insurance yet, by the way, which takes like 4 months from insurance. So every step of the way has been a nightmare. But the neurologist was saying that it is probably functional neurology disorder. But he was like, you can also have other things with it. We were both just like, really? He was like, yeah, there was this guy. He was really struggling. We all thought it was functional neurology. We got diagnosed with that, even though you can't fucking diagnose someone with that. I want to go on a rant about that in a second. But he was like, but then after having other testing, we found out that he also has myasthenia gravis or something. It was like, no, you just don't want to admit that you were wrong. How can you have two different things for the same when one of them says that you don't have an actual problem? So then at the end of August, another month, still no answers, still no anything, still not better, still no answers. I had an EMG done, which I have had a lot of horrible testing done, and this was really bad. It's not the worst. I still think the advanced exercise test, or what is it called? That's another thing I have to talk about. Ugh. So basically, it's this giant table that you have to get onto. So my mom had to physically help me up there with like a broken wrist. So first they put electrodes all over my arm and then sent shock waves through all my nerves, which is so fun. And then they put it on my face. No, they put it on my neck. And once that was done, they take like electric needles. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a microphone almost, like to listen to the nerves or something. I don't know. So they put needles all in my forehead and around my face. Made me like look up and hold my eyes up the whole time, which was so difficult and so hard to do. Because I could not hold my eyes open in one spot for that long. And so they were just moving and twitching the whole time, and they like couldn't really get good info because I was moving so much. And then it was done, and then the doctor comes in and is like, yeah, we need to redo a lot of that. I'm like, sweet. And then he like tapes my fingers together and is like, pull them apart. I'm like, I can't. I like literally used all of my strength, and I'm like crying because this guy's like, do it, pull your fingers apart, hurry up, like yelling at me, and I still couldn't do it. Like at the end, he's like, well, now we have to take the tape off because usually people can pull that off, or like usually people can rip it. And then all of the testing came out normal though. Oh, so the doctor that did the tests told my doctor that everything was normal, but he still had suggestions, and now I have to go back and do it all again. So that'll be fun. I went to my friend's birthday party in September. Yeah, that was really nice. And I had this concert coming up on the 18th, September 18th. And oh my gosh, it was like, since I came home in July, we've been working on trying to get my seats moved to handicap seats. And just constantly calling and messaging Ticketmaster and the venue. Like, the Ticketmaster saying they couldn't do anything until 48 hours before. And Xfinity said they couldn't move me until day of. Like, if I went there the day of, then they could move me. Like, because our plan at, like, they still hadn't, like, I was talking to them, like, the week of the concert. It was on a Sunday. So, like, that whole week I was messaging them, and I was posting it everywhere. I joined, like, the artist, like, fan page or whatever and posted there. And everyone's like, stop posting about it and actually call them. I'm like, I haven't been fucking doing that for months. And then my mom started calling them the day of, and like, our plan was basically to just show up day of and see if they could help us, because my friend basically couldn't buy a ticket because you can't buy a companion seat without buying a handicap seat at the same time. But I had already bought my ticket. I just needed to switch to handicap, and like no one could help me do that. But then day of, I literally like just finished getting ready and I had the ticket sent to me, and which was 2 hours before the show started. Just an FYI that we've been working months to get this done. And yeah, I know there was still errors with it. Well, one got added to my account, but it wasn't showing a barcode, so you couldn't scan it. But like my friends could be scanned. So we asked them to like resend it, and it said it was already on there. It was a shit show. So I had to like open it up. I had to open up one in the app and the other one in the like web browser. My friend literally had to help me do everything, which I'm so grateful for them. But going to that concert has now set me back weeks, and I have just been so much worse from it. I don't regret going though, because it was honestly so amazing. But yeah, now we are in October, still no answers, still no doctors calling back. Having an MRI next week again, and and the EMG is coming up too, I don't know when. And I got approved for for a PCA, but that's taking months. And now I got approved for hours and everything, and now we're just waiting on insurance, which has taken weeks. It's so bizarre to me that they're like, yeah, you need 50 hours a week of help. They have to come and assess you. Like, yep, you need that. And they're like, all right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Or 2-3 weeks. And it's like, it also took, months, weeks for them to even come out. It's just like, what do you expect people to do? Yeah, you clearly need 50 hours a week of help. But like, it's not going to start for a while, so good luck. But yeah, they made me go through PT and OT. I saw OT once and collapsed. And she was like, yeah, maybe PT and OT is too much for you. Yeah, then I crashed multiple times with them, and PT was like, we're not getting any improvement because everything's making it worse, and we're not able to get anything done because of the symptoms severity. So I can't believe I even talked that long. This is now me like fighting it. Because once I sink in, and it's so hard to get back out. Because like to continue talking is less energy than like starting to talk. But my mind is telling me to stop recording, but I'm also like, maybe I should document. But the last time I recorded myself crashing really bad, I actually wasn't even recording for that, and I just crashed while talking. But I crashed so hard and actually fell asleep, which isn't common. And I slept for like 16 hours or something. And then I woke up still crashed. So basically, this is the story all about how my life got how my life got. This is the story all about how my life got flips turned, how my life got. This is the story all about how my life got something upside down. Wow. Okay. Sure. Ow. Freaking like eyelid went backwards or something. This is like my face now. This is me like trying to stay awake. You know it takes more effort to frown, right? Anyway, I need to put them. Oh, okay. Oh, God. I was like, is that like an hour of talking? I can go on a rant about conversion disorder later. I'll close the video out later, dude. Alright. It's like 4 a.m. I gotta go. I'll be back. Hey all. So, it is now Tuesday morning. That crash was pretty bad. I keep trying to like get a time to update. But this week has been really hard, and I really wanted this video to just be like an update and explaining everything that's been going on, but like I realize this is also part of what's going on. So basically I got approved for 40 something hours a week of PCA help. and 14 hours overnight a week. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to find someone to do overnight because it's like midnight to 6 a.m. Well, any time in that range. But I don't know, especially because I'm awake that whole time. But I don't know, because I would need that more than like early morning stuff. My home care person was supposed to come yesterday, and she didn't. And my friend comes on Wednesdays, so it's just been really hard. And my mom's been sick, so she can't help either. Plus she's back to work, so doesn't really have time to help anyway. The PCA, I think today makes it 4 weeks since I last talked to the PCA people. They told me it would take up to 3 weeks, and now it's 4. I got an email saying that my wheelchair is on to the next step, and it said completion date of this step, December 9th. And we still have 3 more steps to go. It's just ridiculous. I can't take care of myself. I can't keep advocating for myself. I can barely do this. Like, I can't do phone calls. And no one else can help me. And none of my PCAs can start until they can start getting paid. So, which I don't even know if it's gonna be good, because my home care person has already, she's canceled so much. I don't know. I just can't take it anymore. Every single step of the way has caused problems. Nothing has gone right. See, even when I started this video, I had more energy, and that's why I started it, but now it's just I don't even know how I talked for an hour yesterday. Not yesterday, that was a while ago. My mom bought a wheelchair on Amazon, and they sent us the wrong plug. Of course they did. Hello. I know, right? Yesterday was a hard day. Still today for me, but I woke up from my home care, got the call that she wasn't coming, and then had to cancel on my nurse because I couldn't answer the door. Well, not that I couldn't get out of bed. And I'd have to get out of bed to put Mama away. I don't know how they expect me to do all this. I understand Mama's a pain in the ass, but even if you had a behaved dog, they still make you put the dog away. But it's I have people coming here to help me function, so how am I supposed to put the dog away? I agreed to it because home care was going to be here at the same time, so she was going to help me, but since she canceled, I couldn't do it. I barely make it to the kitchen, heat up something in the microwave, and it's by the time I sit back down, I'm so nauseous and I don't want to eat anymore. And by the time that I'm not nauseous anymore, it's cold. My mom and Dave keep trying to I'll take Mama up to my house for a few hours. So I'm just why. Like, so you don't have to worry about her. I'm like, she's literally my only company. I'm home alone all day, and I have no one here. She's like literally all I have. They don't get that. She's actually been a bitch lately. She just like, I don't know, I don't feed her or take her outside or like do anything with her anymore, so she doesn't really care about me. She's just constantly literally talking bad about you while you're helping me right now. But she just constantly wants to sit out in the living room and just wait for someone to come. Like, she always just waits for Dave to get here, or I wake up like every day without her now. And I try to like cuddle her while I'm in the hospital bed out there. She doesn't like to stay. But it's just like so hard. I'm at the worst my health has ever been. And yet it's just a constant battle. Like, it's a constant battle of literally trying to function. And then on top of it, it's like the mental battle of like trying to prove myself and like to fucking idiotic people who just don't understand. Being told to just fight it. Like, it's not what I've been doing 24/7. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome my whole life. I know how to fucking fight fatigue. Fight fatigue every day, even before this. I don't think I ever explained it on here. I don't even remember what I even talked about in the last video. Ugh. But basically, what? In or out? Pain in my butt. So basically, I'll be feeling like okay. Not never my baseline. But then if I'm talking, I'll get a raspy voice. And then my eyelids start to get just so heavy. I've explained it as like, I don't know, if you're completely sober and you take like way too big of a hit of weed or something, or like the edibles start to kick in and you took too much. It's like when all of a sudden you're just like alert, and then it's like you get like sucked in. Or it's like my eyelids are so heavy and they like hurt. Not hurt, but like, I don't know, they're just so heavy and like stones. I don't know. And I just feel like my whole body goes to sleep and I get like slow. Oh. So after the nurse, I fell back to sleep and couldn't get out of bed till like 9 p.m. And even then, I really didn't want to get up. So I slept like 15 hours or something. I don't know. My stupid watch says I slept like 4 hours. I don't know why I'd wear a watch to bed if it doesn't even work. It's the only thing that I miss about the Fitbit. The Apple Watch is like a bajillion times better, but the sleep calculating is shitty. Alright, my phone's dying. If this is the end of the video, I don't know if I'm going to make more. I'm hoping to do a bunch of them. But we gotta see when I can update. When I can edit. If you liked this video, please give this a thumbs up to let me know. And if you would like to follow along with this health journey, please give me a subscribe. YouTube has a notification thing with the bell. I don't know, you guys probably already know all that. Yeah, that is the fucking high school. I'm Taylor. This is my channel. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh.